Welcome, dear students. I'm VEENA, Assistant Professor in the PG Department of English, KTCT College of Arts and Science, Kallambalam. This is going to be an introductory video lecture for third semester BA English Language and Literature students under the University of Kerala. I will be talking about your co-paper, that is reading fiction. The paper has 4 modules. First module is prose fiction, second module is modern British fiction, third module is modern European fiction, and the last module is short stories. Now, I will give you the details of the core text for each module. For the first module, the core text is a concise companion to literary forms, and for the second module, the core text is George Orwell's Animal Farm, and for the third module, the core text is Voltaire's Candide, and for the last module, the core text is Golden Threshold, an anthology of one-act plays and short stories. Personally, I will be dealing with the first 2 modules, that is prose fiction and modern British fiction. Now let's see what is in module 1. Module 1 is an introduction to the concept of fiction and also type of fiction that are existing along with the narrative strategies and also elements of fiction. Now let's see what is a fiction, what is a prose fiction, and what are the type of fiction. Fiction. In any language or in any literature, all writings can be classified into fiction and non-fiction based on whether the work is factual or rooted in imagination. Which means if a work is written purely on the basis of imagination and creativity, it is said to be fiction. And if a work is written purely on the basis of real life incidents and everyday happenings, it is said to be non-fiction. So we have a definition going like this. Fiction refers to the narrative in prose which relies more on imagination and creativity rather than facts. The word fiction had been derived from the Latin word fictio or fingere, meaning act of making or fashioning, which means producing a new thing. Once more, the word fiction had been derived from the Latin word fictio or fingere, which means act of making or fashioning. Now, the word fiction is used as a synonym for the word novel. That is all about fiction. Now, let's see what is a prose fiction. See, language not in a metrical pattern as poetry is prose. Language not in a metrical pattern as poetry is prose. We know how to write a poem. It has certain metrical patterns and rhythmic pattern. If we are writing something by neglecting these metrical patterns and rhythmical pattern, it is said to be prose. And it is considered to be the usual medium for writing novels and short stories. I have given an example, that is John Lyly's Euphrates and also Anatomy of Wit. Now let's see the type of fiction. Fiction in prose includes novels, short stories, romances, novellas, fables, and other such narratives. So we have 3 prose narratives which are fables, short stories, and novel. First of all, we'll see what is a fable. Fable is considered to be the earliest and simplest form of fiction, and they convey a moral message. They are considered to be the earliest and simplest form of fiction, and they convey a moral lesson. So it is almost similar to the morality plays that we have studied in a second semester. And Aesop, he was a Greek slave who lived in the 6th century BC, is considered to be the earliest practitioner of the form fable. And they became, meaning fables became immensely popular in 17th and 18th century with the writings of a French writer named Jean de La Fontaine. Okay, it became immensely popular only in 17th and 18th century. That is also with the writings of the French writer named Jean de La Fontaine. And here is an example, that is George Orwell's Animal Farm. Now let's see what is a short story. Short story, it preceded many genres of fiction. It was a pioneer of many genres of fiction, and it became fashionable only in the 19th and 20th centuries when they were published in general magazine and little magazines. Though it preceded many genres of fiction, it became fashionable or it became notable only in 19th and 20th centuries because at that time they were published in two magazines named General Magazine and Little Magazine. And practitioners of this form advocated that it should be short. The story should be short. It should be a flexible creation, and length, though it is short, the length varies from writer to writer. And here is also an example, that is Boccaccio's Decameron is a fine example. Now let's see the last one, that is novel. Novel is a most modern literary form. Okay, once more, novel is considered to be the most modern literary form. It originated in 18th century. Okay, though it is considered to be the most modern literary form, it originated in 18th century with the writings of Samuel Richardson, Henry Fielding and Lawrence Sterne, and it became popular in 19th century. Okay, it became popular only in 19th century, and 20th century saw no innovations in novel. 20th century saw no innovations including the narrative styles in 20th century. And the word novel, okay, the word novel derived from the Italian word. Okay, the word novel derived from the Italian word novello, meaning a small new thing. Okay, meaning a small new thing. And after the two world wars, novel was considered to be dead, and hence thereafter there was a rebirth under the title new novel. Thus new novel has been flourished. So that's all about the features of novel. In addition to this, we have to study evolution of novel and four pillars of novel, and we have to study different types of novel. So I didn't give an example because we have to study the features of novel in detail in the course of this module. So this is all about fiction, prose fiction and novel. For this particular area, we'll study novels in detail in the next video.